they was like, you have more severe problems. I'm like, what happened? I had severe bone loss in my bottom jaw that they had to remove all my teeth. And I still took my pictures and no one knew.
If it wasn't for us having this conversation, I just wouldn't know you've gone through all of this.
First, it was intimidating because I'm 38 years old and all these influencers are 21 years old, 22, in cafes, stripped off, in Dior and Valentino's and all. And I'm like, I'm in Zara and H&M, right? So I'm like, how do I even start? I looked at my finances and I was $56,000 in debt. I mentioned this before, and even with my own mother, like my mom.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Elevate. My name is Jessica.
My name is Darwin.
Welcome to episode 74.
Let's go. And we have a guest.
Today we want to welcome.
Now, wait. I have something to say.
What?
This is an intervention.
Ooh.
What?
Yeah, because you shopping too much and you influencing her too much.
Oh, no.
So this is really why you're here.
For me to get blocked?
Yeah.
I love it. Sorry.
Now you could go. Sorry. I messed up your intro.
You know what? Let's scratch that. That never happened. Today we want to welcome Junitza, best known as Juju Stylez on social media. She is a Latina fashion influencer. Okay, let's get that straight. And if you guys don't already follow her, what are you waiting for? You absolutely should if you want to elevate your style without breaking the bank.
Hello. Yes, that's the key. That's the key.
I love that you have a very diverse, you don't focus on just expensive things. You do everything.
Yes, high and low.
High and low.
I appreciate that.
She helps us. See, she helps you out.
Thank you.
She helps you out in some way. Don't be
I give
ungrateful.
a little Shein with a little Zara.
Exactly.
And then a little Louis.
Yeah.
We never Louis don't hurt.
So Juju,
Yes.
where are you from?
Well, I was born in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rican.
But Puerto Riqueña. But I was raised in the Bronx, from the South Bronx. And I lived there all my life until I was probably 23. I lived in the Bronx and I was raised in the South Bronx in Hunts Point Avenue. And I'm grateful for that because it made me the woman that I am today because I saw it all. When I tell you I saw it all, I saw it all at Hunts Point.
Plus points fire.
We can completely relate. We just recently moved to Westchester County, but we've been in the Bronx our whole life.
You live in Westchester.
She bougie now.
You bougie. We live in Westchester.
But you're absolutely right. I can say the same thing. Growing up in the Bronx totally made me the person that I am today. And, it wasn't easy. You see a lot of things and, you grow up and you don't want your kids to go through the same thing. Yes. But those moments, actually make you appreciate a lot when you grow up, and everything is just so much more valuable to your life. So, even though sometimes we could think, why did I have to be born in those circumstances? Sometimes those are blessings, in disguise. So
it's definitely a journey, it's a process and a journey. And you realize sometimes it's like, why me? But it's just molding you.
It's part of the growth.
It's like you in that potter being fixed, God is making you in those places. When God visit people, he went to Galilee. He didn't go to the beautiful places. He went to the Bronx, let's just say, right? So a lot of people might, look at these places like, oh, you from there. And I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm very proud of it.
Yeah.
Because it just made me who I am today.
Absolutely.
And it also shows like how far you've came to. It's not like,
And it's so simple that I appreciate parking.
Absolutely.
That's the one thing I'm like, I got parking. I'm sorry for those that still struggle with that. But that was one of my reasons. I'm like, when I pull up to my house, I'm like, parking.
Yep.
That's hilarious because the first thing that we were excited about when we got to Westchester was the parking.
Yeah.
It's like something as simple as that other people might see as, oh, that's not a big deal, was a big deal for us. Like, I can't believe we're excited about parking.
And those being in the Bronx and being in those areas where it's poverty, we mostly more attacked there. If you look at, there's more speeding cameras there. When you put on your Waze and you're out here, it's rarely speed cameras. Now there's 24-hour speed cameras. Taxing the poor. Then it's just not only speed cameras, it's meters everywhere.
Yes.
There's street cleaning rules.
Every day.
You got to move your car, even when you think you found a good parking. No, you got to get up at 8 in the morning and move that car. And it's always taxing the poor. And it's getting to a point that it's ridiculous that even us that live in Westchester, we're very close to the Bronx, but we're like, let me drive up to Connecticut or Jersey to the mall over there, instead of putting our money into the hood. But it's because it's so hard.
Yeah, it is. They make it so difficult.
And you have 2 men now. 2 men?
I have a 15-year-old and a 20-year-old. So
and did they grow up at all in the Bronx, or they was already?
My older one did, but
not
until
remember.
I think we left the Bronx. He was still young. He was 8 years old, and then we lived in New Rochelle for a while. We rented in New Rochelle.
Does he have a memory of being in the Bronx?
Oh, he thinks he's from the Bronx.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. He raps.
Okay.
So and then we're dressing and stuff. I'm like, you would think you was like literally.
He's like, I took you out of there.
Yeah, I'm like, I took you out of there. I guess it's in the streams because he really thinks he's from the Bronx, and he don't put he's from Westchester.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I'm from the Bronx. I'm like, yeah, you was born in Bronx, Lebanon. Yeah, okay, that's the only Bronx you got in you. He was born in Bronx, Lebanon. But it's in him.
That's cool.
It's in him, and I don't, it's not like I just be like, just calm down. You're not from the streets,
Yeah.
because these young kids think that they know it all.
For sure.
And I'm like, you don't have not 1 ounce of knowledge of what it is to be in the streets.
Right. Sure.
And that's what you got to keep these kids, holding on to, because in social media, the streets can easily, the enemy's waiting to devour any inch you give them, and then they go to the most vulnerable people. And it's your kids, because you equipped, right?
Yeah.
We know, like, let's get put on
You're
the
not
full armor
easily
of God,
fooled.
let's pray.
Yeah.
But with your kids, they go to the most vulnerable kids, so you got to be on top of these. And it's like, you don't want to be too strict, but then I'm not your friend
It's such
either.
a struggle.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I feel like that's such a struggle in this day and age with social media and the phones. And my son is 10, and the other day he goes, like, soon maybe I should get a phone. And I'm like, he goes, because a lot of kids in my class have a phone. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but you're not getting a phone until I feel like you can have one. Because you're here in the house. You can use the iPad, with supervision. What do you need a phone for?
Yeah. We tell them, like, once you start, like, going out to school by yourself or something like that. But for what you need a phone, if you're always with us or with grandma.
Yeah.
And it's like, part of me, I'm like, wow, like, I know some of these kids may feel like, I'm sure there's other parents that do the same thing I'm doing, and their kids are like, why, like, it's not a big deal. It is a big deal.
It is.
This is way too much information on a device.
Yeah, I always say that this is the devil's playground. It can make you or break you.
Absolutely.
And if you allow it, yes, it might seem like something simple device.
Yeah.
But the control that it has over this generation now, it's crazy. Like, sometimes I think, I'm like, thank God I was born in the era that I am, that I was in, because I don't think I would survive. The pressure that these kids, their pressure is totally different from ours.
Yeah.
Ours was just try to make it back home, and we didn't have phones. We
Literally.
didn't, you better hope you had a quarter, to make a phone call. But we knew when we got out of school, go straight home, take out that chicken out that freezer. Because you don't want mama to come home and that chicken is still frozen to cook it. We already knew what to do.
Yeah.
But with these kids, I call them the microwave generation. They want everything instantly. And it's scary. But I just think that I tell people, for our kids, is patient, love, and prayer.
Yes.
That's the main ingredients. That's all we can do. And it's one of the hardest things, honestly. You can give me a whole house, I'll clean it upside down, decor it, I could style anything. When it comes to parenting, it's one of the toughest titles I have hold.
Absolutely.
And how do you balance, because you are popping on social media.
So
how do you balance telling your kids, like, stay off of social media when you're so involved in social media?
One thing with my kids, they were brought up around fashion all their life. My kid's father owns a clothing store in the Bronx called Blueprint. Hot free advertising. Called
I'll
Blueprint.
invoice you.
Yeah, in Southern Boulevard in the Hunts Point area.
Okay.
So my kids were always around fashion, was always around all this stuff that I thank God they never, since it was always around, they didn't crave it. You understand?
Gotcha.
So even with social media, being that it's always there, it's not something that they on like that. You'll catch them sometimes on TikTok, but they don't post. They don't. I'll be shocked. Sometimes it's scary. Like, you know, because they're around always name brands from the store. And they're like, let's go to Primark. I'm like, yes, Primark. $6 sweatpants.
I mean, you're the prime example that you don't have to be wearing something expensive to look good.
Not at all. Primark, baby.
I preach that all the time.
Yes.
It's all about style. And the more I've grown
confidence.
up, absolutely.
It's confidence.
Confidence is key.
Yes.
Like number one, you could be wearing anything and you make it look good if you're very confident in what you're wearing. And people don't realize, you know, sometimes things start trending and it's because someone who was really confident wore that.
Yes.
Like they wore it and here you are watching them on social media like, oh my God, that looks really good. But you don't know that what makes it look really good is that person's confidence.
It's like those big red boots that came out recently, not recently, like
God.
a few months ago.
Yeah, a few months ago.
And it was just trending, and it was like, bro, I would not.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
no,
I would
no.
not. Would you rock them?
No,
that's too much.
There's just certain trends, people.
Yeah.
That it's not for everybody. There's just
agree.
certain trends, and there's certain styles that was from the 80s and 90s that just need to stay in the 80s and 90s. I love that it evolves, and it's a cycle of fashion. That's okay, but there's just certain things that just need to stay. Yeah, but so not every trend you need to go run and buy. And if it's a trend and you really love it, there's always knockoffs to it. I'm for a dupe. I'm for a good dupe. Amazon be coming up with dupes, and if you can find a dupe, pay $40 for it instead of $400 because it's not something that you're gonna be wearing consistently. So why pay $400 when you can pay $40?
Yeah,
especially for us who are not rich and money. You know, we don't have money
to wear it once and then put it in the closet. No,
it makes absolutely no sense. For what? For ego? Like to just feel like you have it? Like it's ridiculous.
The tip I always give women when they're shopping, I say, when you're picking up an item, make sure that you can create four looks with that one item. If you can't, put it back.
that's why I always buy a black shirt.
Black shirts go with anything. That's it.
This is the most colors I've had in like 2 years.
Black is always.
And it was like $10 on H&M. So
get it. You see,
we're the neutral people here.
for real.
To go back a little bit on your history, tell us a little bit about your childhood. Well, you were born in Puerto Rico, you said?
Yeah, but I was raised here. I don't know that much about Puerto Rico. No, don't judge me. Yeah, all the Bronx.
Okay, and so how do you remember your childhood?
Whew, I have mixed emotions when it comes to my childhood because it was growing up feeling abandoned by my biological dad.
Okay.
And then being raised by my sister's dad that took me in like his own daughter. Never felt like I was a stepdaughter, but felt loved. But also, it was just, being in the Bronx wasn't easy because my dad fell into drugs there. In the 80s in the Bronx, you know, the epidemic of crack cocaine was at its ultimate high. And that's when I said, I seen it all. So growing up, I felt love, but I used to see a lot of things that I used to tell myself, I'm never going to go through that. I don't want to go through that. I used to tell myself as little that it actually stood embedded in me, that because I saw my dad do heroin. Wow. I used to see my dad like leaning over the sofa, and my mom used to cover for him. He's sleeping, and I realized, you know, I was getting older, that he's not sleeping. Yeah, like don't lie to me. Yeah. And then I used to see like the spoons burnt, you know, the little the needles or the rubber bands they used to use, and they used to share. And my uncle used to live with us, and when he used to do drugs, he became paranoid during that time. It was, you know, I guess they get effects differently. Yeah. So my uncle used to get like paranoid standing in front of the front door just with a stick, and you know, seeing those things, and I used to be like, oh my God, I never want to do drugs. I never want to do drugs. So, but at the same time, even though they had those flaws, they still loved me because they were not, my DNA wasn't their DNA, and they still picked me up as their own. And growing up, we didn't have everything. Because after that, my dad, you know, got really bad. My mom had to leave him. He ended up being locked up. Then he ended up being sick. And actually this month, he makes 15 years that he passed away. Oh. So, you know, my mom had to separate. And then it was just me, my mom, and my sister. And we grew up in a studio apartment where it was so small that the refrigerator was in the hallway. And the washing machine was in the living room. But my bless her soul, always had this place so immaculate that you wouldn't even think you're living in this matchbox.
Yeah.
Because everything was always so clean. And, you know, people used to come to my house. And I remember this story. I got my first boyfriend, and on the phone, jonesing, he's like, describe your apartment, right? So I'm like, and I've been to his apartment. He's Dominican. My first boyfriend was Dominican. Ay Dios. Anyway, that's another story for another story. But he's like, describe your apartment. So I'm like, oh, when you come in, is a long hallway. Then is my room. Then is my sister's room, my mom's, and the kitchen. Lies. Because it was one room. That's it. It was one full-size bed. Me, my mom, and my sister slept in until I was 18 years old.
Wow. From what time? From what age to what age?
I would say from 8 years old. So that was 8. So 10 years we lived in that situation there. But at the end of the day,
And that was before your father left, or?
Yeah, right after my father left, my mom got into that situation because now it was just her on her own. So we had to leave the apartment we were in, and my mom was only able to afford a studio apartment.
And are you the older sister?
Yes, I am. I'm the oldest, and it's just me and my sister. That's it.
And at what point you was like, okay, I need to get out of here? Like at what age was?
Ooh, my mom decided when I was 18. I just graduated high school. My mom decided to move to Florida with a man she met.
Okay.
That they were together since I was 17 during that time. And they decided to move to Florida, and I didn't want to go because I was making $13 an hour. You couldn't tell me nothing.
You was balling at that.
What? I was balling. I was like, give me a penthouse, give me all that. So I didn't want to go with her. And I said, no, I want to stay out here. I'll figure it out, whatever. And she moved out there with my sister and my stepdad. And when she moved, I ended up being homeless for 2 years. No place to sleep. It was just me and a bin, a gandungo, what I call it, of my clothes and my things. So I would just stay in friends' house here and there.
Wow.
So my plans were, the boyfriend at the time, we were going to get an apartment and move in together, right?
You failed.
Yeah. Epic fail, okay? You know the little butterflies, la mariposa se murieron.
You could have been here right now.
Yeah. You're lost. So it failed, and then we were not together. So all the plans that we had went to the gutters, and I ended up being, staying in people's homes. So what happened was I ended up working for a group home, and I took the night shift so I could have a place to sleep.
Oh, that was smart.
As those Bronx streets.
Yes, it was. Listen, the survival of the jungle, the concrete jungle. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna find a job in the night, and I knew the people already, which was good. So I did the night shift and working for a group home with teenagers, and that's how I survived for the 2 years. Then I met my baby daddy. And this is a funny joke because this is a joke that he still plays, and it's 23 years that we've been together. And he tells me, I never asked you to move in. He never knew my situation, that I was homeless, right? So of course, one night starts with leaving a little bijita, right? A little bobby pin. The next day you're like, I need to leave my toothbrush, like have an extra toothbrush here. And then it got with a gaveta. Then it comes with the size of the closet. Then I end up boom, full blown.
Then the bin comes in.
Yeah, that's it. So then we just end up staying together, and it was 23 years.
Nice.
Together we have 2 amazing boys. But after 23 years, recently, it's been a year that we decided mutually to go our separate ways. Okay. And it's been one of the most emotional roller coasters I've been in my life. Because, being with someone when you're 20 years old, I'm about to be 44, that was my prime years. You got the best of me, So it's like, how do you even start all over? But I leave it in God's hands. Whatever. We're in good terms. It's not like we co-parenting. We're doing things that we need to do. And I pray all the time. If it's for us, it's for us. If it's not, it's not. But, this is just a journey I have to go through. It's another process. Because it's always like when you overcome something, algo viene, not something else comes. But at the same time, I stay consistent for myself. I show up for myself.
You do, and you do very well. Because if it wasn't for us having this conversation, I just wouldn't know you've gone through all of this. Yeah. And, there's people who
Thank
grow
you for
up.
sharing, by the way.
Oh. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for feeling safe to share that with us.
Thank you.
a lot of people come from the Bronx, but everybody doesn't go through that. You've had it really tough. And to see you show up the way you do is very admirable. Yeah. So you should applaud yourself every day for being so strong, because that you are a strong woman. The more I talk to her, I realize, Jesus Christ, girl.
Like, I know everybody would be like, girl, you should write a book. I don't like to write. I don't like to read. I like to talk.
That's why she's here.
Can I do podcast and talk about my whole life? But yeah, I just feel like I have to just show up for myself, because since God's been showing up for me, why not? Why can I not show up for myself? And that's why, social media, I know people might look at it, but it's been the pillar to my life. It's what kept me getting up every day and showing up, because if not, it's designed to drain you. It's designed for you to be depressed, oppressed, and all that stuff, especially with situations you're going through, right? I could have been anybody like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going through this. I'm like, no, levántate, bañate, get dressed. And I think that just brings this, and I tell people, set up your clothes. And this is what I do on Sundays. I take out my clothes for the week on Sundays and prepare what I'm going to wear Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Iron everything, set everything with the shoes, the accessories. So when I do wake up in the morning, I'm not rushing. And then when you rush, you end up just throwing on anything. And that's just how you're going to feel. Yeah. Like anything. I
absolutely agree.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I enjoy fashion. Because I feel like the way you look, the way you feel, it's like whenever I'm like put together, even if I just throw on some blush and lipstick, and just do my hair nicely, I just feel better.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So does that have anything to do with, because you've been through a lot. So is the fashion part of, is that part of why you started doing?
No, I always loved fashion since I was little, watching novelas, watching Iri Chacon, music videos. I used to love those shows that was like makeovers. Like they used to, oh my God, I was like infatuated with that. So I was always into clothes, always into fashion. I tell these people this story. I didn't have that much clothes. I used to borrow my friends' clothes. And they were like, isn't the hamper? It's dirty. And I used to take it out the hamper. I'm like, no, give it to me. Don't worry. Back then, there was not Febreze, okay? Yeah. So it's either you just shake it off and just throw a little splash of body. What was that store? Bath and Body Works. Yeah. Remember Country Apple Pear?
Oh yes.
Spray it down and hopefully nobody knows that it was in the hamper. Yeah. And so I grew up with not having, but I made it seem like I was having it. Like people always say, "Oh my God, you wear expensive stuff." I'm like, no, I don't.
Fake it till you make it.
No, but that attitude is what takes you places. So, in a way, unconsciously, because you have this in you, this personality of, I'm just going to make pretend I'm fine. You te haces la fuerte, you're just strong. I need to get through this. It's part, in my opinion, is part of who you are today and why you are where you are today. Because had you just...
If you would have took, let's say, the cards that were dealt to you, you could have just been like, I'm the victim. Like, my life was meant to be horrible. Yeah. And he was like, nah, I'm reshuffling. Like,
and this is like what we've spoken about in this podcast in the past. Victimizing yourself constantly is not helpful.
No.
How is that going to help? Sometimes you are a victim. It's not saying that you haven't been through what you've been through and not validating your feelings and the things you've gone through. But just sitting there and dwelling on what you've been through is not going to help you move forward.
Especially when we were growing up in the generation where our parents was like, sweep it under the rug. Yeah. Don't tell nobody. Nobody needs to know. So we will, they'll hold all that stuff, all that resentment. And then you wonder why they're always angry. Yeah. It's just so much that they hold. So for us, you take the situation, you make the best of it. So that's why I learned how to just make the best of the situation. At times, did it backfire on me? Absolutely. Because the way I carried myself, wrong girls in high school that didn't like me. Yeah. Right? Didn't like the way I was coming to school dressed. I had a girl wanted to slice my face in high school because she told this principal that she didn't like the way I come to school dressed because I was in heels or in boots. So I used to be like, what? I used to have people wanting to, threaten to jump me and I used to be like, I don't have nothing. Yeah. I live in a studio apartment. Like I'm telling in my head, like, what? But I realized years later that they saw my purpose before I even knew my purpose.
Your presence.
Yes. Bothered. I didn't even know it was my confidence. I didn't know that it was because this is how I wasn't doing it on purpose. Right?
I can completely relate.
Yeah. So it wasn't like I'm walking like it wasn't, that was just in me, but I didn't see it in me. So it took me years to realize, wait, they saw my purpose before I even saw my own purpose, because I was so focused on the situation I was living. I was so focused that I'm still borrowing my friend's clothes and sneakers. Yeah. And you're still hating on me. You had a boyfriend with a car, you traveling, you vacationing. My first time going to a pool, I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have it like that.
Yeah.
Like if I went places because a friend of a family, my friend, she was the only daughter, so she had brothers, so they used to drag me along to places, but it wasn't because my family took us anywhere, you know. So I used to be like, why are they hating? Like, why they don't like me? So I always grew up trying to like tell people, hey, it's me, I'm down to earth, I'm not conceited, I'm not this, I'm not that, until I came to a point like, no, enough. If that's how you perceive me, then you don't belong around me.
And back in the day, it was like, you was either conceited or you wasn't.
Yes.
Like, I feel like I haven't heard that word in a long time.
Conceited, right?
Yeah. But when we was in school, it was like, she's conceited. Like, he's conceited. I'm not talking. And now it's just like.
That was my label. They were like, oh, she's conceited. She don't talk to guys from the block.
Yeah. I was labeled that growing up.
But it's not that. It's just your confidence. And at that time, we're not thinking, you know, you're 14, 15. You're not thinking about confidence, right? No. You just think, trying to survive, trying to get another day in.
It's and I didn't miss school. So
I didn't miss school, guys. I had perfect attendance because I needed everybody to see my outfit. My outfits that's borrowed.
And so when did this social media journey start for you?
It could have started a long time ago, but it started at the age 38. And it was because my regular platform, which was when it started, I didn't have MySpace. Didn't have all that stuff, but when social media came along, like Facebook and Instagram, I used to just go on the mirror and take a photo of myself and just post it, and then not post for another 2-3 days, and then post again. And one day my friend was like, oh my God, I always look at your posts, like, what would Juju wear? So I'm like, So of course I was like into really church, and I had to pray to God, like, is this right? And I got the go ahead, right? And I said, oh, let me just create my page. So one day in the morning, I was like, took my first picture, and I said, I'm starting a page. Here, everybody follow me.
This was Instagram.
In Instagram. That's where I started, in Instagram. Facebook, I have it because you have to have a Facebook business page in order to, because I don't like Facebook. No me gusta.
Me either.
But you got to keep your family there, your titis, bendición. But I started with just taking my pictures in front of mirrors and posting it. And then it just came, you know, being consistent every day, just posting in front of a mirror. And then COVID happened. Wait, before COVID, guess what happened? I started doing my page and it started going good, right? I'm like, oh, I'm getting somewhere, right? First, it was intimidating because I'm 38 years old and all these influencers are 21 years old, 22, in cafes, stripped off, in Dior and Valentino's and all. And I'm like, I'm in Zara and H&M, right? So I'm like, how do I even start? I'm short, I'm Latina, I'm not tall, I got curves, I got a fupa, like I got kids, like, you know, it was kind of intimidating entering that. But I said, no, let me get in, let me see what this can do, because I love fashion. And when it was getting really good, I'm like, yes. I went to the dentist because I had a huge gap, right? So I was like, oh, you know, I'm taking pictures. Now I'm kind of conscious. And I tell the dentist, can you see if you can close my gap? I don't want braces. I just want to see. So they do these x-rays and they're like, come back. And they're like, we can't close your gap. So I'm like, why? What happened? They was like, you have more severe problems. I'm like, what happened? I had severe bone loss in my bottom jaw that they had to remove all my teeth.
What?
Okay, so I cried. Like if they told me I had cancer, right? Because I'm like, I'm doing so good. I'm like, God, what is going on? Everything's going so good. Yeah. And I'm like, the enemy's trying to shut me up, right? Because I'm real quick, Joey, bien espíritu, right? I'm like, this is a spiritual attack.
Yeah.
Somebody's attacking me. Right? Me echaron mal de ojo, algo, right? You go into there. Yeah. So you're like, it's a spiritual attack. They're trying to shut me up. Yeah. So I had to get my teeth removed, and I was 6 months without any bottom teeth.
6 months?
6 months. And I still took my pictures, and no one knew I had teeth.
And this was 2019?
This was on 2019.
Wow.
I had no teeth for 6 months, okay? And it's so funny that I had dentures, like right now I have implants. $23,000 later.
Wow,
I have
that's
implants.
Crazy.
Yeah, but during that time, I remember they gave me dentures. And a funny story, my first time I'm going to a restaurant and you can't eat with the dentures. So I took it off. I put in a napkin. We eating. And we finish in the restaurant. I take the stuff and I look around and I'm like, they took the napkin with my teeth.
You need your own show.
I'm telling you, I need a book, a show. Anybody's out there. They took my teeth, so I'm calling the waiter.
The day I lost my teeth.
Yeah, I'm like this. And he's coming. He's looking at me. So he's like, my teeth. And he's like, because he's looking at me like, you decked out.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You young? Your teeth. I said, my teeth. I had to go with him to the back where they throw everything out and go in the garbage to get my dentures. Because, honey, dentures are expensive too. I was in the garbage they gave for my dentures. That was at the same time, it was embarrassing. And I'm not a person that easily get embarrassed. I was laughing at first, but I'm like, oh my God, la cosa que me pasan a mí, like things that happen to me. My teeth in the garbage. And it didn't only happen once. It happened like 3 times to me that I threw out my damn dentures. But during that time, and I was still taking pictures. During then COVID hit. And when everything was just booming and then COVID hit, and I decided, my godson gave me a tripod. Okay. And I'm like, what is it? He's like, just try it, Nina. I said, okay. So I started putting my tripod in my house, taking pictures myself, because before it was me in front of my mirror, then I had my husband take my photos. I'm like, please take, but men, sorry. Angles.
I can't relate.
You can't relate.
Sorry.
No, you got it right. You got it. You have it. Tú tienes el don. Tú tienes el don.
You're an exception.
Listen, when they take the phone, they go like this. I'm like, no, that's it. Put the phone down. Put the phone down. Yeah. So with the tripod, I started learning how to use the tripod. And I'm like, okay, I could do this. Yeah. So during COVID, I was practicing at home, taking my own pictures. And then I was getting featured in Target, getting features with Steve Madden. And it was just me and my iPhone and my tripod. So I was like, oh, we're getting somewhere with this. So, and then I started going outside. I said, vamos para afuera.
Oh, yeah. I love those.
So I go outside with my tripod, get ready with me, outside taking my photos. And from there, I was like, okay, I could do this by myself. So a lot of people think that you need this, fancy equipment or all this stuff to start. In the long run, you're going to probably need it. Of course, when you get huge contracts, you don't want to give them photo content, you want, but at the beginning, just a tripod and an iPhone, or you guys are not Android?
No.
Okay, so an iPhone, okay? Team iPhone.
Yeah, yes. and even if you don't have that, we actually have a sponsor to this podcast.
Yes.
Book Total Studio.
Oh, hello.
Total Studio, a studio located in Yonkers, New York, for creators by creators.
So for those of you who have a project coming up, whether that be a video project, a photo project, a campaign for a clothing line, a product line, we are all inclusive. We do video, photo, and if you have your own photographer, videographer, and you just need studio space, you can book us via your space or shoot us a DM on Instagram
at Book Total Studio.
Back to the episode.
Hello. Sorry, yes. So you gotta start somewhere. But I just, people think that you need, oh no, I need to start. And when I started Instagram, I started reaching out to other influencers and I was getting no answers. They were leaving me on red because I wanted to know, like, am I doing this right? Give me some feedback. And I wasn't getting no feedback back. And I'm like, okay. So I said to myself, if I make it big, I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to answer everybody. And when I used to learn something, I used to do a live. Like, guys, I tried this, 6 hashtags of this, and to see if it works, and try this, and let's go on lives. And, people who are afraid to go on lives, I'll join them on live so they can get comfortable. So I wanted to, do that. And that's how it started. Just first in the mirror and then tripod and an iPhone. And it's still been my tripod and the iPhone.
And it looks amazing. Okay.
Yeah, and
when she pulls up that tripod, she puts it outside and she does those videos outside. I'm like, this girl.
Yeah, when people staring at me and I'm like, the other day I was taking a picture. The guy says, you look nice. It's okay. Manners. You say, thank you. He's like, can I talk to you? I said, no, thank you. I'm good. He started cursing at me and then telling me, walk away. I'm like, oh, I got it. I took my tripod and I got in the car. I said, no, not today. I just got in my car and I went to another location and shot another location. Nice. But I always pick the 5 same locations in the mornings because it's on my way to work because I do have a 9 to 5. On top of Instagram, I have a 9 to 5. And I work with cancer patients. So
Really?
yes, I work for the Department of Health. I'm a program manager now with cancer patients. So when I first started the job, they used to call me for dress codes. So they're like, Juju, yeah, those boots are not office attire. And I'm like, well, is my patient's complaining? They're like, no. I say, okay. Is my work delayed or behind? No.
Yeah.
So I said, if you're gonna address me of my dress code, then address everybody, because there's people here that look like they got pajamas on. Okay. So and then they stopped.
So you either look too good or you look too bad.
Yeah,
You don't
like,
fix it.
come on. As long as your work is done,
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
of course, you don't need to.
Right.
Uno
There's
se respeta,
right.
right?
Right.
So I always had that issue of always people had a problem with the way I went to either to school dressed, to work dressed, even to church dress.
But I don't feel like you dress inappropriately.
Girl, I don't know. I
Yeah,
always
but if
had
people
the
don't,
problem.
if people feel like they're underdressed and she's just like that's her standard,
Yeah.
they feel like she's overdoing it. No, it's just you don't
Like
have any
I
standards.
used to have people, they'd be like, "What you gonna wear? Let me know before we go out." I'm like,
I hate that.
yeah, I'm like, just wear whatever makes you feel comfortable. Listen, I always tell people, there could be this girl dripped in all designer and a girl with just t-shirt and sweats, but she's carrying herself so confidently and she's gonna look better than you with just a t-shirt and sweats. Because she's carrying herself. She's stepping in that room because she know who she is, right? So it doesn't matter what you have on. So I always get that we're going casual, Juju. I'm like, okay. But casual to me is jeans and heels.
I just feel like it makes me sad whenever I hear a woman, if I'm going out with them and they're like, "Oh, what are you wearing?" Like, because in my mind, I'm like, I've expressed this to my husband in the past. Is I'm like, when I'm going somewhere, obviously, you tell me where we're going, I'm gonna dress, accordingly to where I'm going. But I never feel the need to like ask another woman like, "What are you wearing?"
Yeah.
Just so that I don't feel like I'm not fitting in. Because to me, that screams that you're insecure about yourself. You should be confident with whatever you wear.
Absolutely. Or just to ask for help. Like, girl, come over here. I have a closet. Help me style this up.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
That's why we're friends for.
Yeah.
And of course, we all know it's your birthday. I'm not going to outshine the birthday
yeah.
girl, right? But, and if it's your wedding, we're not going to outshine.
Right.
There's rules.
There's rules,
There's
yeah.
rules. But if we're going to go eat brunch, I'm
Right.
going to wear what I want to wear. Like, there's clothes that I have in my closet I can't wear to my 9 to 5.
Right, and don't try to like control what I'm gonna wear.
Yo tengo que estar en la calle con esto. Like, somebody got to see me with this outfit.
I just be like, I literally don't know. Like, I'll know 10 minutes before I'm
Yeah,
leaving, so I
yes.
don't know.
You know what's so funny? I used to, because I always do get readies with me, and I'll post it after I leave and get to the place, because I don't want them to be like, oh, she's wearing, and then they go change or they
Yeah.
feel some type of way. So I'll wait till they see me. Then I'm like, I got something to post. Hold on. They're like, oh, you got your.
We matching, but I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So
Recently I saw that you did this live with another content creator, and that's immediately I was like, we have to bring Juju to our podcast, because I loved everything you spoke about. I loved how you were so open about supporting each other in the influencer or content creation community, especially. I don't think you said specifically Latinos, but I think like Latinos, in this community need to really,
let me tell you something. Instagram gives you insights of who follows you, age, countries, everything. My biggest supporters are African American women, are 53%. Then I have white American, and 6%
Hispanic.
are Hispanic women that follow me. 6%. That struck me in my chest.
Yeah, because even you start with Hola Belleza.
Yes.
So it's like
My profile has the Puerto Rican flag.
Yeah.
I don't think I look any other race that's
You look
not
Spanish,
Latina.
yeah.
Yeah. So to know that, I'm like, we still living old times.
Yeah.
Like, it's sad.
It is very.
So I see a lot of, and I think it's because we don't voice that much, right? I was just right now thinking, because they invited me to a couple of Halloween parties, brands, and I don't celebrate Halloween. So
I don't
I'm
either.
like, so I hit up a brand. I said, sorry, I don't celebrate Halloween. I said, but, Hispanic Heritage Month just finished, and you guys never did anything for Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yeah.
But I can not only be the voice. It has to take all of us. It has to take the Latina community to stand up, because when it comes to other race, Black History Month, Black content creators get together. They collab together. They do photo shoots together. But when it comes to Latinas, it's always, I don't know, it's within a competition within that it's sickening already. Like, it's tiring. It's like, come on. I am not here to compete. You understand? I'm here trying to make up to all the losses I did. I'm not here competing, because at the same time, you don't know what it took for me to get where I'm at, right? So I don't know what it took for you to get there. So I'm not gonna want a lot of people want your position, but I don't know how hard you fought to be here. Yeah. Like,
or what
did you live in a candungo? Yeah. Did you live in a candungo?
Right. And
did you lose your teeth?
Did you have no teeth? Like, people don't see it. They don't see that. So, and it's a lot of Latinas, and mostly the influences that I hit during the time I started was Latinas, and then that was left on red. I don't mention names, whatever. Whatever it is, their life, and then you see them like, oh, I'm just posted something, support me, but when you gotta support others too. So that's why I make it my business. Like, if you comment on my page, I'm gonna comment back, because you took out time to say, you look nice today. I love your outfit. So you know what? I need to take out time to answer you back.
I literally was saying that in our previous, like one of our previous podcasts. Like, if a person, we try our hardest, but like, especially on TikTok, which is our biggest account. Sometimes it gets overwhelming if a post goes viral, but
of course.
Even then, I try to at least like the damn comment, because they took some of the time from their day to say something. Yes.
You know what? One thing I always tell people is, be careful, because everybody wants to go viral.
Yeah.
You might end up in the wrong side.
Especially
and you're not ready.
Especially if you go viral for the wrong thing.
Yes.
For sure.
Like, if you're doing something that is not related to your brand just because it's a trend, and you land there.
Let me tell you something. That's what people are like, oh, why my video? Listen, just be glad with the little bit of likes and views you got, because people are not ready. Because especially with TikTok, TikTok is a different breed, different animal out there. They have total no filter.
Yeah.
Yep.
They would just tell you. I remember I did a video like, baby daddy should be glad he had a baby mama like me, right? So people were like, oh, so people were like, well, you should be sad that you're still a baby mother.
Oh God.
I said, oh, hit me while I'm down, why don't you? So those things like that, you look at it, you're like, so not everybody's ready for when it's viral, but I do make it my time to comment and like back and answer DMs. Yes, it does get overwhelming. So I do break it in the morning. When I post, I answer what I can. I'm back to my 9 to 5. Lunch, I'll answer whatever. And then when I'm back on my bed, I'll finish whatever I can. If I can't, then I can't. But I tried my best to answer everybody.
Sometimes we go viral for dancing on TikTok.
Oh, yes.
Like, crazy viral. And people be like chewing me up most of the time. Like, you can't dance. Find yourself somebody. I'm like, bro.
They always got something to say, right?
I mean, like, we're having fun. Like, it's not that serious. We're not professional dancers. We're just
like, I'm not out here giving
time.
tutorials.
But it's okay. Like, you have to. People need to know. Sometimes people, it's like you say, people, let's say, wish they were like on social media or they were like an influencer or a content creator. But everybody isn't really ready to be on the spotlight, because you have to have this confidence about yourself and even then, when you have confidence, there's certain comments that it's gonna catch you on the wrong day, and you're gonna be like, it hit me, and you're gonna have to brush it off later on, and move past it. But there's some people who will not survive the comments, because you have to be strong-minded.
And you also don't know, like, we do this and we don't really know what the end goal is.
Of course.
Like, it's just,
you're posting and just Russian roulette,
something,
right?
something might happen, sometimes might not. But like, we put a lot of hours into this thing to do it, like, for all of us. What has been like your biggest struggle with social media?
Oh, I lost a lot of friends.
Because they didn't understand you.
Yeah, because of social media. But I gained so much more. You understand? Of course, not everybody can understand what you're doing, and it's not for them to all understand, right? They're not the audience. They're not part of the community. So I did lose a lot of friends, but I gained so much. So that was one of the struggles. I wasn't ready for that. I didn't know that was going to happen.
But why mainly do you believe that you lost those friends?
Because when you're growing up from the Bronx and your friends are from the Bronx, they think like even though they might not say it, but they might think like you're just posting to show off.
I told you this before on the podcast. I feel the same way. I'm like, damn, sometimes I feel like I'm posting to show off and it's not.
And
this is my life.
So that's why a lot of people are like, oh, you should do vlogs of your daily life. And I'm like, I don't want to, even though I don't have a life. I just go to work and back home because tan muy caro para estar en la calle anyway. Yeah. So I don't really go out like that. Do I get invited to a lot of places? Yes. But then I have to analyze, like, is there a reason for me? There's a purpose for me to go? Because I get invited to a lot of brand events, but I got to take out time. I got to drive to the city. I got to pay parking, you know, just to say I'm in a place, just to post that I'm in a place. Now, if it's beneficial, you paying my Uber, you giving me an Uber code, I'm going to go, right? Yeah. But if it's not, you know, I don't want to be everywhere and do everything. So
I feel the same way.
Yeah, so I just don't, that was one of the parts. And I feel like sometimes it was scared for me to post, or if I'm on vacation, you know. And I mentioned this before, and even with my own mother, like my mom, I love her to death. She's a wonderful mom. But I told her not so long ago, we had a huge fallout. And I told her, I said, you have jealousy tendencies, you know, that you need to address. You need to ask God to free you from that. And, you know, it was hard for me to tell my mom that. And I told my mom, I was like, I already go through that through the outside world. Yeah. I don't want to go through that with someone close to me. And this is no secret, you know, when I was going through my separation the first few months, you know, my mom was like, can I go over? And I said, yeah. You know, I needed my mom. And I needed just a shoulder. You know, if your kid gets hurt and something happens, it's going to be all right. Not knowing if it's going to be all right, but your first reaction is going to be, it's going to be fine. You're going to be fine. So that's what I wanted from my mom. And she replied back with, ahora tú vas a saber lo que yo pasé. Now you're going to know what I went through. So I just looked at it. That was like a ticking time bomb. And I'm like, Mommy, I already go through all this outside. Yeah. I don't want to go through this with someone close like you. And it's just me, you, and my sister. Like, we don't have a huge, it's just us, because everybody else lives in Puerto Rico, my family. So when I'm like, I already go through that. And then with my mom too, it really, really, so, you know, the older you get, you start building boundaries, but it's just to protect your sense of peace and happiness. Because the older you get, that's what you want. Yeah. It's not money. It's not I thought I needed a Chanel bag. Now I have it. And I'm like, I did not need no damn Chanel bag. Yeah. But just because Chanel was like the symbol of you made it. Now I look at it, I'm like, qué estúpida. But, you know.
But I got it.
But I got it.
It was something you had to go through.
You know. And I tell people a lot too. When I started social media, I did it wrong because nobody was answering me back, right? So I was just buying and tagging brands and buying and tagging brands. And when we got separated, I looked at my finances and I was $56,000 in debt a year ago.
Because of the fashion.
Yes. Oh, well, and my teeth.
Oh yeah.
My teeth added $23,000 to it. Yeah. But I was constantly buying what was on trend. So this is why I'm here. Yes, trying to be so you can, so the brand can see you. They can repost you. You can get exposure. You can get following. So it was a lot, right? And I end up in the wrong side when I realized I didn't need to do all that stuff. But I didn't have no mentor or somebody to.
And then when you're trying to reach out, nobody wants to talk to you.
So you're like, okay, I got this the way I got to do it. So, and I end up in a huge financial debt. And I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? So not only am I dealing with my mom's issue, then I was dealing with a separation, and then I was dealing with the finances. Wow. And you know, the biggest attacks that the enemy comes is your children, your finances, and your marriage, your relationship. Yeah. I wasn't married, but the relationship. Yeah. So it attacked me in every way, even with my kid, with my son. So I just I said, something got to give. So, you know, when you're like, something great is coming, something, you know, the 9 months you brewing, you get, you know, you get those cramps, you get Braxton Hicks, you like, but when you birth something good. And I'm like, something good is going to come out of this. So it so happened that $56,000 in debt I was, and I'm like, how am I going to figure this out? How am I going to do this? And
that's a scary place to be at.
Yeah. And I was in the bottom, and I'm like, okay. And I've been, you know, I tell this to people. I was asking for my job for a promotion for a while, and they weren't give it. And I'm like, I've been there for 10 years. I'm like, I need this because I know the program. I know what I'm doing, right? And it was always constantly every meeting. I'm like, what do you guys have for me? If not, I used to threaten, I'm leaving tomorrow, right? And they're like, oh, we're trying to do. So one day I'm praying to God, and God was like, I can't give it to you. And I hear him saying, I don't respect money. I don't respect the value of $1. Because I was always shopping. It's only $10. It's only $15, but it adds up.
Yeah.
So that was me. So I wasn't respecting the dollar. So I had to change within, because of course the rug was pulled off under my feet. I'm now separated after 23 years. So I'm like, how am I going to do this? So I had to, tighten some stuff. I was eating cup of noodle for a while, right? But I did it. And, I started putting value in the dollar, and I was not eating lunch every day or takeout or eating out with the kids. I told them, okay, on Thursdays I'll bring Domino's. Domino's is cheap. It's $5.99, right? Yeah. Before it was it was $5.99. I think it's now $6.99.
Everything going up.
Yeah, everything's going up. So I used to be like, okay, on Thursdays I'll just bring pizza, so they can think like they're eating out. But I made some adjustments, and when I made the adjustment, and months later I got the promotion.
Wow.
I got the promotion, and then
once you kind of like came to senses and
and value,
organized yourself.
Because you wanted more money, but you wasn't really changing the way you was acting.
So even if I got it, I wouldn't even see it because I wasn't putting value to it.
Yeah.
So God was like, how can I give you $1 million? You're not even respecting the dollar. Not that I'm making $1 million, but just get out there.
It's manifesting.
Yes. Oh, yes. So, I had to make some adjustments because God don't work in disorder. God only works in order. So I was like, I need to get my life in order because I might look outside. I'm like, okay, everything's in order. My house is clean. My kids are. No, inside, it's not in order. Yeah. Right. So I had to fix certain things, and I got it. And I can tell you today that I'm down to $7,000 in debt.
Hey.
And my credit score is 844. So I'll be buying the next door space out here.
That's amazing. I love to hear that.
Yeah. So it's been, because God it's been contracts after contracts, with Instagram, and it's been going good. And I'm like, okay, so, that's why I'm showing up.
And how's been that experience working with brands? Like, has it been difficult, or is it just something that just happened?
I haven't, you know what, to be honest, I never reached out to a brand to work with them. I have been blessed that they've been reaching out to me. The reason I don't reach out is just that I'm scared that I don't find the time to do it because I have a 9 to 5. Yeah. Then on weekends it's for my
scared
kids.
Of committing to
yes, because then when you reach out, they're like, okay, you want it, so here's the contract. Here's what you got to. And then I'm like, it's just me and my iPhone. Like, I'd be scared. I'm gonna be true. Like sometimes I'm like, it's just me. I'm like, I don't think I'm good enough. Sometimes I think, that comes in, you're like, you look at the other things and you're like, no, I'm not gonna reach out. Yeah. So I've been blessed that brands have reached out to me to work with, and I haven't had any issues with brands. I shoot. They say okay, they gotta prove your content before you post it. They say good. I never had anybody to say reshoot this. We don't like this. At first it was intimidating. I was scared. I was like, oh my God, I need a photographer. I need this. And I remember my kid's father was like, listen, if they love your content, it's because what you're posting.
Yeah.
They already like it.
They already like
you don't
it.
Need
so
to,
why are you questioning yourself?
That's
so
right.
I've been, especially with Primark, I've been with them for 4 years. People tell me they only work with people for 2 years and that's it. I'm on my 4th year with Primark. So I'm like, I'm doing something good.
Primark. Definitely are.
Primark.
That's amazing.
And they reached out to you?
Yes.
And at what point was this? Like, where in your journey?
I didn't make money till like my 3rd year of Instagram. Okay. Yeah, so it was on my 3rd year that they actually reached out to me, and they were my first big contract. Like I was like, oh, so I was like, I put a number, right? And they were like, I went a little above, right? So they're like, can you meet us at this? And I'm like, I was jumping, right? I was like, let me see what I can do. I was screaming, running down through my whole hallway in my house, like, oh my God. So it was exciting, and I've been with them for ever since. And I can say because of them, I've been helping my finances because they've been consistent with me. Nice. In content creating, people think it's just constant contracts and free things. There are months that you don't see funds coming in. You understand? And TikTok and Instagram. Well, Instagram used to pay you for your views. They stopped that.
Oh man.
And then TikTok's views are just it's change.
Did you transition the TikTok from the creator fund to the new program they have?
Which
you have to create over a minute content, but you can't add music, and they actually pay out more. You should try it.
Oh no, I haven't.
Yeah. It's called TikTok creativity thing. So you can't add a trending sound, but you have to record more than a minute, and then they monetize it. And people are making way more money. Because the fund was just, I think it was like $100 million, let's say they had, and it goes to whoever. So the new fund is actually pretty
much
good.
better. Yeah, because I don't really use TikTok trends. It sounds, because I feel like TikTok platform likes to hear your voice. They want to feel like they're interacting with you. So
well, that's why they're doing that now. So you should definitely, because we just joined it, and you know our content is really based on music, but we did like a kind of like behind the scenes getting ready in the podcast, and then monetized. We got like 13 cents of like a minute and a half.
Okay.
But it just shows me that it does work. So now we just gotta.
So it's definitely good for you because you're always talking.
Yeah, because I feel like it gets better than me just doing my you see the videos I do on Instagram is a trending sound, me getting ready. Yeah. On TikTok, what I do, I explain what I'm wearing. Yeah. So I feel like I get better feedback that way. Yeah. People want to hear you. They want to feel like they know you. So that's what. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna try it. I think I'm in a program called Life on oh my god, something creator Life on TikTok. I don't forgot. I was supposed to use a hashtag. I'm supposed to post a certain amount of time. What is it called? Life something. But sometimes I feel like those programs, when they kind of down your views for a second.
Well, this one is not a program.
A lot of people say that.
But you just change it because the thing is the fund doesn't pay anyways. So I was just like,
let's just try it. Yeah.
But you can't revert.
Oh, okay.
But it's for you is perfect. Like you should try it, and then maybe no, then you could even do like the day in the life and make your videos longer and monetize longer. So that's pretty cool to hear.
Girl, it's been a pleasure having you on this podcast.
So any before we leave, I want you any 3 tips for people who are trying to start social media and they don't know what to do, and what do you recommend?
3 tips. 1, don't worry about followers and likes. Just be consistent with it. You don't need fancy equipment. Just post. You know, don't be afraid of what people gonna think. And the biggest tip I'm gonna give you guys is your support always comes from strangers. Yep. So
I think that we should stop because I think a lot of people waste too much time and energy just thinking about how the closest people to us are the least of support. It's time for us to just let go of that. Yeah. Let go of the thought. Let go of the expectation. And do it for you.
If that's your passion, you got to come in just not because, if you're coming in because you want free products and free this is not for you. Yeah. Because it takes tough skin. It takes a lot of time and dedication to it. And you got to be consistent. So if it's something that it's in you, you want to do it, just go for it. Just post it. Be you. What people are looking for is not that perfect image. People are looking for raw and being authentic on these platforms. So don't worry about, I don't look like a certain person because I stopped my dreams because worrying about, I'm too old to be starting or what people are going to think. I could have started a long time ago, but I was so focused on that it just stopped my dream. But until I did realize, no, let me do what I got to do, right? But at the same time, I needed approval from God because if not, if I would have done this years ago, I think I would have been the next Cardi B. Because I wasn't mature. I would have been. Yeah,
I get that. I get it.
So I thank God that I started late, but sometimes I thank God that I started at the time.
For a certain reason. You never know.
And it's never too late.
It's never
too late. Never too late to start anything.
There's an audience for everyone.
For everybody. Listen, you could do sandwiches. People are like, oh my God, how you did that again? What you added to that? And if
there's viral grandparents crazy.
And we love this. We love seeing that, especially because of the pandemic. During the pandemic, it actually TikTok blew up because people were just on their phones creating things. At first I was not a fan of TikTok. I felt like everybody's just doing the same thing, and the person that created was not getting the credit for it, so that was real frustrating to me. And then I just started like being consistent on TikTok about, I would say February makes 2 years that I've been consistent on it, and it's been going good. It's scary.
I think us too.
That's where that's where I found you on TikTok.
Yeah
for us it's 2 years too.
About right after the pandemic.
That's
but not like when it first started. We kind of was like, nah.
I was doubting it too.
It was actually our son who was like, like TikTok, there's this app TikTok, and he started doing like the skits. It was him who was encouraging us to do the skits during pandemic. And that's how it all started. And then, I don't know, it just somehow turned into...
And one day we danced, somebody was saying something, we danced a song, and it was over.
It was over from then. Yeah, everybody was just like, oh my God, you guys, I love seeing you guys dance. And we just really love to spread positivity and love. And so we saw it as an opportunity to do just that.
Yes.
And especially during that time, COVID, and, there was so much stress going on. That's something, dancing is something that, music you can put on and it cheers you up.
Yeah.
So to us.
But that's how I found you guys too on TikTok. And I love to see the unity together. It's rare that you see husband and wife together on a platform. Now you see it more often, but before you didn't see it. So, when I see you guys, I just see love, I see fun, I see joy, and I just pray that God continues to bless your union, your family, and
Amen.
And many, many, many more years in your businesses. And God has so much in store for you guys.
Thank you guys.
And I'm going to be witness to it.
Yep.
You're going to be right here because you're part of this family now.
You join.
Dance out to me.
So that is all for this intervention today.
Nobody's going to pop out on the side. But thank you. It was an honor to be in your podcast. Thank you. Loved I felt safe here. You could leave me here for another 6 hours. I started to look at my legs, started to take off my jacket.
I love it.
Because you guys, you feel I'm more for like energy and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, ya yo entré, tengo familia. Hola, ¿cómo estás? So, but thank you. It was an honor.
Thank you for being here. It was an honor for us to have you here. It was an honor for you accepting to come on our podcast. We absolutely love your content.
Thank you.
Love your genuinity. Love everything you spreading. I love how you speak openly about your love for God. I'm also the same way. So it's just nice to see people like you in this community and to come together. So this is not going to be the last time we're together.
Thank you.
But that's it for today's podcast, you guys. Yep. Thank you so much for watching or listening. If you're here on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit the bell so you can be notified every time we post a video. If you're on any of our audio platforms, don't forget to leave us your reviews. It really helps us out. And that's it for today's podcast, you guys. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Until next time.
Peace.
Oh, thank you. That was so good.
Yes, it was.